Hey Wildcats, and welcome to another episode of Wildcat World. I'm Carson.
I'm Dallas.
And today we have two brand new Wildcat Worldly topics that we're going to be sharing with you today. So, would you like to get us started, Dallas?
Okay, now you guys know me. I like obscure games, games that not a lot of people know about. And I got one that I discovered recently called Deep Rock Galactic. Now, Deep Rock Galactic is a pretty fun game in my opinion. You play as spacefaring dwarves and you go out, you're in a spaceship obviously. I mean, you're spacefaring dwarves.
Yeah.
And you go out onto this big, very rich in ore asteroid, and you go down in like this big miner. You go down as far as you can, and you have to collect as many resources as possible. But there are also missions like set up a refinery for oil, find specific enemies and take them out. You know, that sort of thing.
Okay, so the American dream.
Yeah. But I love how just dwarf-centered it is.
Okay.
Like, it'd be a good enough game on its own, but it really leans into the whole, like, Lord of the Rings dwarves style.
Do they like mine their little hobbit holes? Do we get to see the process of a hobbit hole?
No, sadly.
Oh, man. Well, I always enjoy the games that you bring to the table because it's not like, oh, I started playing Battlefield 2022 or 2027 or whatever it is. Oh, I started playing Call of Duty Black Ops. It's always something like, there's this game where you're a dishwasher and you wash dishes. There's this game where you're a dwarf and you mine for ore on an asteroid. And I'm like, this sounds so cool.
I've always loved finding more obscure games that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, I feel like it would keep if I were to play that genre of games that you always pick up, it would pique my interest more than because I mean, I could pick up a controller, I could play Call of Duty for like a couple hours, but then obviously I get burnt out. But whenever you're constantly getting something new and obscure and something that's fun and refreshing and it's not something that's mainstream, I feel like it's a whole lot more enjoyable.
It's a little bit mainstream, only because they're made by the same developers. Remember that game Goat Simulator from a lot of years ago?
Yeah.
It's made by the same developers as them.
That's sick.
Coffee Stain Studios, which doesn't really hone in well for most people because, you know, Goat Simulator was a very joke game.
Yeah.
But this one, I think, it has very good mechanics. Even though, if you listen closely, there are four dwarves. There's the engineer, the gunner, the digger, who has I'll explain them all later. But the engineer, the gunner, the digger, and then the scout. The engineer, he makes buildings mostly. He can have a turret that he can set up, but he has a platform gun that he can shoot at walls and then, help his teammates. They can jump up onto those platforms to get more higher ore and stuff like that. The gunner, he has guns. He does the most damage. He starts, I think, with a minigun, but then you can upgrade it to different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
The digger, he has two big drills on each arm, and he's the digger. He digs big holes. He collects ore the fastest and stuff. And the scout, he's the fastest and takes less fall damage. He has a grappling hook to where, let's say, the engineer makes a platform up on a wall to a vein of ore. The scout can just grapple on up there and get it real quick.
Yeah.
But
this is just what goes on in my head because obviously you related it to the Lord of the Rings lore. My brain is constantly naming them from one of the seven dwarves. Is one clumsy and one
Gimli,
grouchy and.
Oh yeah.
Wait, is it actually similar to that?
Well, not that kind of dwarf. There's actually, in the main base, you can see this little bobblehead with a figure that looks a lot like one of the seven dwarves.
Yeah.
And you can, if you spam E on it, you, slap it, and they keep talking about how they hate the fact that people think that's what dwarves look like.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that.
But if you listen closely, I think they're all voice acted by the same person, just with differing levels of, deepness and high-pitchedness.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but
that's sick. On the other spectrum of size, you have dwarves, and then there's titans, and
big boys.
Yeah, Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2. That's a mouthful. just came out in January. Yeah, I'm trying to think when in January. It's been a couple weeks because I think the third episode have just released. So it's been about 3 weeks. Basically, let me give you all a breakdown who are not familiar. It follows the story of Aaron Yeager, a teenage boy who lives in a village, and it gets destroyed by titans, and so they have to retreat further into their kingdom, which the entire like kingdom is surrounded by walls. So you have like the mainland, and then you have different walled sections. And his walled section, Shiganshina, got destroyed, and there's a hole where all these titans can get in and kill the civilians, and they're like all different kinds of sizes. And I could just get more and more into Titans in a second. But his entire thing is that he wants to get revenge on the Titans and avenge his town of Shiganshina, and because the Titans are just terrible, and that's like it, face value. But then, like as you go through the series, you learn more and more, and it starts to be questioned. There was this one general who was like, "Aaron, listen closely to who's talking right now. Who do you think the bad guy is?" And it was just like a one-off thing, and then it springs, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's just like mind-blowing, and it is so freaking awesome. Sometimes they're just like made of muscle. They'll come in and just like eat people.
Eat people.
Yeah.
Some vengeance by some otherworldly force was enacted on humanity.
So Aaron's first step in taking revenge in his dream since he's been a young boy is he wanted to join the Scouts. And it's basically like a branch of the military where they get strapped on with these like grapple hooks and swords. And so they're grappling from like their waist, and they get pulled with like two swords. So they're just like soaring through the air and like cutting titans down.
Dang.
And yeah, it makes for like some of the best animated scenes. But then as the seasons progress, there's only 4 seasons, and it's on its last run. It's on its last leg of the fourth. You start to see the story develop, and it's really interesting with where they take the story. And I don't know, it's just super interesting. Like I got my brother and sister-in-law, or my brother-in-law and my sister. I always do that. I get tongue-tied. And I'm like, listen, you guys need to watch this, because I'm so confident that even someone that doesn't enjoy like anything really all that animated, something with this much depth, and it isn't just like a cartoon, it's something with so much more soul to it. It's so like, I don't know, I get really excited over it.
And like considering a lot of animes that I haven't personally watched, but like I've seen, it's kind of one of the less weird ones.
Yeah, it really is. I made the mistake of starting with Naruto. Don't get me wrong, I love Naruto. It is so good. But it has like over 1,000 episodes, and I'm just now on episode 840 something. And you have all these filler episodes, and you go through the OG series, which came out super early in my life, even before my life, some of them. And it just progresses into what it's become now, and then it has like its new Boruto Next Generations. There's so much, and there's so much filler, and there's so much to like actually get into it. It took me so long to actually get into anime because I was just watching Naruto over and over and over and over again.
And
But
you're
Attack
like,
on Titan,
are you all like this?
yeah, I watched Attack on Titan. I was like, this is something totally new. This is something that I've never like seen before, and it just really pulled me in. And one thing that really interests me and gets me hooked on an anime is its opening sequence.
Like at the very first episode, or the
The
theme song? Kinda?
the song.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called an OP, opening song, and then you have EDs, ending songs. Those, I have an entire playlist just filled with OPs and EDs of just different animes that I've watched. And Attack on Titan has like super like, it just gets you excited because they're gonna fight, and it's just like upbeat. And then you have the super soulful ones, and then the 4th season, part 2. I'm like, okay, what's the opening sequence gonna be like? I turned it on, freaking heavy metal, and I was like, this is so cool. And hopefully we can get it edited in there. There's a certain part, and it is like, it just starts singing this beautiful chorus in the middle of a heavy metal song, and just got me so ready for the first episode.
And you know that during that like theme song part of the episode, they're gonna be showing you like all the good parts of the show. That's the hook.
Absolutely.
That's what's gonna get you in, get you want to watch an episode.
Yeah, and I'll end it here. Eren Yeager is probably well. It's funny. I got on Crunchyroll, and the anime like awards are coming up for it's like that time of year again. And so you vote on the best protagonist, the best antagonist. You vote on the best female lead, the best male lead. What's funny, Eren Yeager got nominated for best protagonist in an anime and best antagonist for an anime. So there's a chance.
There's a mix.
You can see how muddy it gets because at first you're just following him, so obviously he's the protagonist. But you just got to keep watching and then you'll understand. But I'm fingers crossed, Eren Yeager will win protagonist and antagonist.
Oh, please.
Yes,
please.
because he is one of the most interesting characters, and I hope you guys will all play. What's the game called?
Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Actually,
and then after you're done with that game, you will go and watch Attack on Titan.
Go from small, itty bitty little dwarf to big Titan eating people and destroying a city.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. It'll take you for a roller coaster of a ride. So that's what we're going to end off with here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are sharing with your friends, liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment while you're at it. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Later.